Hey, Andre, can you hear me there?
Yeah, hey there.
Hey,
How's it
why
going,
not?
Darren?
You don't expect rock stars to be on time, but hey, you are. Maybe it's that Michigan upbringing.
I guess so. I'm also working right now, so I'm on, I'm doing I'm double upping. So yeah.
Yeah, so you've got this new EP. Son of a Gun was the first song that I heard. When in the process did that song come together?
Well, it's a song that I've had a while. And when I was recording some, a handful of tracks, I had only demoed the song, and this was the first opportunity that I had really had to record it in a way that was unlimited.
Yeah, sounds great. It's coming out, or rather came out through Dave Ellefson's label. Dave has his hand in a lot of pies. He doesn't just have a record label. He's not just in Megadeth. He's got the film, the books, and all that. But how did you and Dave first connect, or did you connect through his partner?
I connected through Tom, his partner. I met Tom back in the early 2000s, when I had kind of stopped playing rock for a while, was playing mostly acoustic music.
Hmm.
And I believe Tom was still he was working with another label. And it just so happened that, when I was recording the new thing, that a mutual friend of ours recommended that I send it to him, and it worked out.
Right.
And then of course I met Dave through Tom, and had a chance to hang out with the both of them when they came to Los Angeles. It must have been sometime last year.
I can't tell because you seem like you've always been a hard rock guy, but maybe Megadeth wasn't your speed. Was Megadeth always your speed, or is it more of a since I become friends with Dave, Megadeth
Oh,
has become my
I grew up on a steady diet of 80s metal. I mean, I'm from Detroit, Michigan, and rock and roll, Detroit Rock City is a real thing. And
favorite?
I that was, the first concert I ever saw was Kiss with Makeup at Cobo Hall, before they ever took it off. And so yeah, I've been a rock fan my whole life. I did in fact see Megadeth way back in the 80s, when they, probably on the gosh, I'm not sure what tour it would have been, but it was probably about 1987 or 1988. It was the first time I saw Megadeth, and I've seen them plenty of times after that, but that was the first show.
Anytime that I wind up interviewing somebody from Detroit, I wind up picking their brain about music. I did that last week with Sinbad, a couple weeks ago with Susie Quattro. It seems like Michigan is maybe, or rather Detroit specifically, has produced the best music scene that nobody's really cohesively pieced together as such. Every genre has been represented in a great way.
Absolutely, it's a wonderful musical heritage, and furthermore, I grew up in a extremely musical family. My mom's 7 brothers and sisters, all 8 of them, were a family band that were on Capitol Records and did all of the variety shows of the day. They were on Ed Sullivan and David Frost's shows.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, those were my early years, were being on tour with that band, and the caravan, the roving caravan that used to travel around the country, opening up for people like Robert Goulet and Doris Day and those kinds of, acts. And those were my first memories.
Was there ever a point in your career where people were using that as the tag to put on you? Like, oh yeah, the family band guy.
Luckily, no. I had my own notable points to discuss early on. We'll say.
Yeah, I'd say you shook off the real world thing. A lot of people wouldn't have been able to do that, but with time you did. And I think that's a wonderful thing that, in spite of being an early reality star, that's maybe like the third or fourth most interesting thing to somebody who hasn't yet encountered you.
Well, it's nice of you to say. It's it's funny how it's definitely let's hope it's a footnote.
Absolutely. I'm not going to be one of the people that goes, so who are you still talking to from that? Nothing like that. But in terms of your musical career, besides having longevity, is there an accomplishment that you're most proud of to this point?
Well, not so much as one moment. I just as an artist, I like to do what it is that I feel like doing. So it's, I guess freedom would be the best thing you could say about that. Wasp.
Oh, we're talking about 80s bands again? No. Sorry. Take your time.
Right.
I didn't know you were going, well,
never saw Wasp.
I
I never did see Wasp. That's one of the few metal bands of that era that I didn't see.
Yeah, so Wrong Within is the EP, and when was it finished?
It was finished last year, and we had originally slated it for an earlier release this year. But when COVID shut everything down, we delayed it a couple of months. But that was as far as I was willing to sit on it. And we put it out in spite of not being able to promote it the way we wanted to. We had to shift our strategy to a much more online presence. We'll be doing a live stream probably early next month. And going right back into the studio and working on a full length, which will hopefully be out early next year.
Do you have anything that's concrete and booked in stone at this point? And it's totally fine if you don't. I like to hear where everybody's kind of at in the creative community.
Yeah, I wish I did. I've been waiting on, there are a couple of facilities here that, to do a proper live streaming concert, on a stage with a good PA and proper coverage with, cameras. And there are a couple of facilities, but they are also, dealing with the lockdown and their own limitations.
Right.
So I've just been back and forth trying to lock them down on a date. And that's the thing that's kind of holding us up.
Yeah, I get my alerts from artists, things like bands in town that say so-and-so is doing a gig. And I got one this morning for the band Rat, that they are playing sort of a drive-in concert in the middle of nowhere, Pennsylvania. Is that something that you have feelers out on, or would you rather just wait until concerts are real than do a drive-in?
Well, I'd probably, I don't want to, I would play, I've never played at a drive-in before, so I would probably try it just to see, what it's like. But I am looking forward to a return to normalcy when we can just play to, fans and people that want to hear music.
Yeah. I only know you as a musician. Do you have creative stuff that you do besides music?
Well, I work in the on the publishing side in the music business for film and TV, and that's what I do in the daytime.
Interesting. I didn't know that about you. I understand, mechanical royalties and statutory rates and all that kind of stuff. I can talk that stuff all day long. Did you know in the early days of Raindance that kind of royalty stuff, or did you have to learn the hard way?
Well, it's funny, when we signed our first publishing deal, our lawyer did a very wise, gave us some very wise advice, and actually instructed us to read a great book, Everything You Need to Know About the Music Business by Donald Passman. Yes, yeah, and he gave us 4 copies of the book, which I'm sure he billed us, for. But with certain chapters that were highlighted and tabbed that we had to understand before we could go further with our agreement and our publishing deal. And it was great because it was a really, it motivated me to learn a lot about the business. And when I moved to Los Angeles and was looking, just for something to, keep, sustain me while I pursue creative endeavors, I got a job working for a music supervisor. And after that, I started working for a publisher, and I've been in the publishing world ever since.
Are you allowed to say openly any of the catalogs you work on or have worked on?
Well, yeah. I mean, I started at Bug Music, which was a great independent publisher. Right now, I work for an amazing company called Seven Seas Music, where I run the creative department over there.
I like to ask that kind of thing. I find that there's a lot of singer-songwriters that actually work in publishing, whether it's part-time or they have a JV. A friend of mine who's in the band Superdrag, I found out that he was doing that, and I said, "What do you work on?" He goes, "Oh, the Neil Diamond catalog." And that's kind of a catalog everyone's happy to hear about and hear from. And then other people go, "No, it's a bunch of jingle writers you've never heard of, so don't ask about it."
Yeah, no, great catalog, I'm sure.
Absolutely. And being quarantined like the rest of us on and off, any TV or film discoveries that you could pass along?
I love documentaries. I'm a big, I'll go way back, and watch, one of my favorites is Brothers Keeper, which is a great documentary about, just check it out. It's, I could go on, I like true crime a lot, and anything, but I like everything else, everything that everybody else likes. Breaking Bad, The Sopranos, the best.
Yeah.
And I could, anytime I go to any of those episodes, I could easily just get sucked in and sit there for the whole hour,
There's a reason that people look at those as the greats. It's not a chance. There's no harm in liking the greats. It'd be like saying, yeah, the Beatles, but what do I know? Exactly. And next time I interview you, we're going to go deep on the Winger catalog and the Rat catalog and all that. But I'll ask the closer here, keeping the focus on Wrong Within and all that. And that's any last words for the kids?
Just to look forward to, the new stuff. If I can't make it out to your town to play, I'll be coming out with some new music in the early part of next year, and hopefully I'll see you in 2021.
Cool. We hope to see you live here in New York, my wife included. She's not visible, but that's okay. So thank you so much for your time, Andre. Keep up the great work you're doing on all ends.
Thanks so much, Darren.
Paltrocast.